It's never gonna get easier with these remakes. Not really. Remember when we all thought that The Little Mermaid was gonna be the death of all these remakes? How everyone was bashing it, saying it was gonna be terrible, it's an abomination and it needs to die! But then it made a lot of money and everyone moved on to the next one. Oh, remember when we were all dunking on Mufasa a few months ago and how Sonic 3 was gonna beat it? Once again, made a lot of money. Doesn't matter. See, every time a new remake of some kind shows up, we all get angry, we all cry about it, and then, once it comes out and makes its money, then unless it was something truly egregious like, say, Mulan 2020 was, then we all just go and forget about it. That's how it's been for me, anyway. Outside of Scuttlebutt, I don't remember a damn thing from the Little Mermaid remake. Outside of Tell Me It's You, I don't remember anything from Mufasa. And that just came out 3 months ago. It's gotten to a point where once a remake is announced and everyone starts losing their minds over it, I'm just sitting here looking at it for what it is. Yep, that's gonna be another lifeless remake. It's gonna have zero passion or effort put into it, so why should I care? Okay, I know you guys want me to care, but honestly, I can't think of anything new to say about these remakes. I mean, do you genuinely believe there's gonna be something new to say about the Lilo & Stitch remake that's coming out soon? We all know it's just gonna be a weaker, more safe version without the social commentary on colonial tourism or trans icons. We see you, Pleakley. You be the best you can be. Everything I have to say about this movie, I'm probably gonna end up saying about that movie too. If I'm wrong, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I ain't got my hopes up. Just like I had no hope for Snow White. All that hype/hate, and this is what it all led to. Absolutely nothing.
Well, I don't know what I expected.
This is just another pointless, average, mediocre, blah, mid film. There's nothing that good, but nothing truly terrible in it. Well, except for one thing, but we'll get to her. Easily the best thing about this movie was Rachel Zegler's performance. I honestly feel so bad for her because between this and Spellbound, this girl really deserves to be in a classic-style Disney musical. But we can't trust Disney to make those anymore, can we? Oddly enough, though, and I know this is gonna sound very weird, but Snow White 2025 is simultaneously a better and worse version of Wish. Just hear me out for a second. Since Wish was given a very similar setup to Snow White, it kinda makes sense that that comes to mind. The music and some of the characters are better than that of Wish's, albeit not by much. At least Snow White has an arc compared to Asha. It's not great, but at least you can say there's a lesson that was learned. She's also not a fucking idiot like Asha was. She actually thinks before she acts, so there's that. She actually spends time with the dwarves and gets to know them a bit. Again, it's not a lot, but it's certainly better than Wish, so I have to give Snow White the edge here. The music is also all around better. But we all know Dying Possums is better than Wish's soundtrack. The original song covers aren't too bad, actually. They bring back the classics like Whistle While You Work and Hi Ho, but the new songs are, okay. Waiting on a Wish is a decent I Want song. Definitely better than this Wish, that's for sure. A Hand Meets a Hand isn't too bad. There was this one song called Princess Problems, and I swear it gave me mad Owl City vibes. And I was kind of laughing to myself while it played. The singer sounds dead ass like Adam Young, and it was probably the most enjoyment I got from this movie. So, yeah, Rachel made a good Snow White. Not an amazing one, but that's just the writing being average, not her. Sorry, everybody. Sorry I don't unequivocally hate Rachel Zegler because, I don't know, what did she do? Oh, she said she didn't like the original movie? Oh, well, that changes everything. I mean, can you imagine someone going out there and saying they don't like a movie? Like, lock the bitch up! Jokes aside, she was pretty good. Especially when compared to the other lead. Yeah, while the main character in the music was better than Wish, the villain certainly is not. It's actually quite an accomplishment that Magnifico is unironically a better villain than Gal Gadot. Don't get me wrong, we all know about Magnifico and his hang-ups, but at least at times, he can be kind of fun. Chris Pine was just living it up, playing the character, and hey, at least he can fucking sing. Whoever's bright idea it was to give this woman 2 songs needs to be dragged in front of the high school and be publicly humiliated in front of everyone. This woman can't sing. It's a shame because the lyrics and instrumentals for All Is Fair is actually pretty good on their own. But oh my god, does she just ruin the song with her awful singing. Any YouTube musicians want to get on making a cover so I can listen to this song without wanting to kill myself? Jonathan Young, Caleb Hiles, Anna Patsu, did I say it right? You want to take a shot at this? You'd be great at it! Seriously, how this woman has a career in Hollywood is nothing short of one of life's great mysteries. She's gotta have some kind of IDF connections that get her jobs. It's the only explanation that I can think of. Seriously, what I would have given to see her face once No Other Land won Best Documentary at the Oscars this year, it would have been a far better expression she gave than anything in the movie. I think her eyebrows move a whopping 2 times in the whole film. Like I said, it has to take effort to actually be a worse villain and give a worse performance than this. These remakes have given me some shoddy performances from great actors like Tom Hanks and Pinocchio, but you can usually blame bad direction and just a lack of passion in those cases. What's the excuse here though? Everyone else is doing a good enough job. It might just be that Gal Gadot's not a good actress at all. You know what? Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Could have gotten Susan Foster or Kelly O'Hara to play the evil queen. You know, actual Broadway stars like Rachel is. But no, just settle for the one actor from Red Notice that was actually worse than The Rock. Do that. Oh, but of course, who could forget about the dwarves? Oh, do I just love looking at these horrible, ugly CGI abominations. Could have easily just cast real actors, but oh no. Peter Dinklage just had to throw a tantrum over it. Even though plenty of other dwarf actors would have loved to play the role, even Jackass's Wee Man would have loved a shot. Not sure if he's a real actor or not, but hey, the sentiment was felt. You want to know what the crazy thing about CGIing the dwarves was? The fact that in this movie, they actually have a real dwarf. There is a dwarf character in this movie who is not CGI and is played by a real person. So Disney is okay with casting dwarves, they just had to make a big fuss over absolutely nothing. What a fucking joke. And before you guys get offended that I called the actor a dwarf, I'm only using that word because if I was one, then that's what I'd want to be called, honestly. Blame Windrose for that. Dwarves are fucking cool. I know these animators are being rushed and underpaid, and that's why these dwarves look so bad, and I don't want to be mean to them, but look at them! Look at Dopey! He looks so creepy! In a live-action movie, they do not need to look exactly like the cartoon. I know we don't need the live action at all, but all I'm saying is, if this movie's willing to take liberties and change the story, then why not just let real people play the dwarves? Rachel wears the dress and everyone recognizes her. Is that luxury not afforded to the dwarves? That's stupid, right? That's a weird double standard, right? The story is pretty whatever. I know there wasn't much going on in the original. It really was just Snow White vibing with these 7 dudes in the woods, but it was a wholesome vibe. I'm not gonna pretend the original was some grand masterpiece in the end. It's certainly a significant film, but as a film goes, it's just kind of alright. It's a very simple film with honestly not a lot of stakes, save for the beginning and the end. But in this movie, we gotta make it to where the people have to rise up against the queen. Oh, but while the queen is ruling with an iron fist and making everyone's lives miserable, our main characters are still vibing in the woods. Okay. Oh, and they're throwing parties and doing shit like that. It's just very meandery. The movie takes its sweet time to establish that the kingdom is in great danger, but sure, stop the story at random points just so the characters can have a random song or party. I wouldn't mind so much as long as the characters were interesting and their chemistry was good, but they're really not. The dwarves themselves are fine, they're exactly how you'd expect them to be. Grumpy had the funniest line in the movie where he believes instead of being named Grumpy, he should be named Misunderstood. That got a chuckle out of me, I don't know what to say. But then you have all these bandits who most don't even have dialogue, and yet I'm supposed to care about these people? Or how about those soldiers who later turn on the queen in the final... Well, it's not a battle, it's more of a confrontation, but we never met those soldiers. We don't know who they are. I'm honestly surprised Snow White knows them at all. She never interacted with them on screen. Also, the dwarves aren't really that plot relevant this time around. I just watched the movie and I'm trying to remember if they did anything that actually furthered the story. Like in the original, they're kind of responsible for the queen's death. They chase her to that cliff edge where she eventually falls off. But here, well... she dies, there's no spoiling that, it happened in the original, but I'll give it credit, it's certainly a more violent death than I was expecting. It's almost like something Don Bluth would have come up with, so yeah, point for a badass villain death, I can't lie. Aside from that, this film is so boring looking. There's no flair to the direction, the editing, the choreography, or anything. It's just all stilted and lifeless and sluggish and just not fun to watch. So much so, I'm honestly running out of things to talk about. It's just another remake. That's all there is to say. Is it the worst? Not by a long shot. I remember when I left the theater, I saw a mom walking out with her daughter who was wearing a Snow White dress. And honestly, That was adorable. There's nothing wrong with that. The kid looked like they had a good time, so good for them. I'm not a kid though, which I'm sure many comments are gonna point out, but these remakes are meant to appeal to the adults, since animation is apparently only for kids. Yeah, you tell them, Neja. It's meant for the adults to revisit the classics they grew up with. Even though they could just revisit the classics they grew up with. Nothing wrong with that. But I think we all get that point now. I didn't hate this movie or anything. In fact, once this video's done, I'm probably gonna forget it ever existed. I'm sure that's gonna disappoint some people that I didn't outright hate it. But by this point, these movies need to try to piss me off. And they haven't really done that since Peter Pan and Wendy. These movies are just lazy cash grabs, so why should I have any passion for them? Why should I feel passionate about the Lilo and Stitch remake that's coming up soon? Or the How to Train Your Dragon Actually, that one's sacred. I know I'm going to be very livid watching that one. But as for Snow White, despite all the hype/hate it got beforehand, it wasn't worth it either way. This movie sucks. Fuck Gal Gadot, free Palestine, and also fuck Gal Gadot.
To leave this town, cause lately I've been feeling down. The cold nights just don't feel the same. Oh